Hello. Good evening, dear colleagues. Thank you, Andrei, for your very kind introduction. And thank you to all who really appreciated the work we've done in setting ethical standards on using data. That's not just my sole contribution, it's the contribution of all of the participants of this. This is a major area, and the state really supported us in this. And of course, the development of AI is a follow-on to the work that is done with data, because AI, as we all know, cannot operate without data, and that's a very good thing. Let me mention a number of aspects. Today, we needn't forget that we have this classic triad of business, state, and society. And these three drive the development of technology. And the development of the technologies and the restrictions that are being contemplated, they are all part of this triangle. Together with our colleagues, we try to visualize, using these two axes, to show the public good that is introduced by AI for these industries, and of course the monetary effect. And we can say that healthcare is one of the key industries these days. A lot has been said about this, and we hope that regulation in the area of AI is something that's going to see a breakthrough very soon, especially when it comes to healthcare technologies. Another important area is telecommunications plus finances, but of course agriculture is coming to the forefront. That is another industry or sector that requires a lot of attention, where AI needs to be implemented, and we hope that we're going to be helped with these experimental regulatory sandboxes, which the government has treated with some degree of skepticism, has looked askance at them without really properly understanding where we are in our technological development, because the people that are practitioners in the area of technologies, they understand that we're talking about primarily weak AI, which means that without a human participation, key decisions may not be made. And AI is at the level where it can only recommend things instead of making proper decisions. We shouldn't be afraid of this. We're not inside this movie, proverbial movie, that one can talk about. We are part of everyday life, and these industries do require our support. On the other hand, the state itself is very active in suggesting various places where AI could be implemented in public government. And this is not an exhaustive list, of course, but I thought these were interesting cases for the use of AI, such as document workflow, something that the tax service of Russia is working on, or take the legal and judicial experiments that are being discussed on the digital economy fora. And they discussed three main questions or issues there. I really liked what Maxim said in his presentation. He made a reference to sustainability, reliability, and control. I would add here issues related to data quality, relevance of the data, and the availability of a trusted environment, and availability of trust between the developers of AI and between them and the users. And this trusted environment can only be created if you have a transparent process that is AI-based. And now I would like to move on to the next point, back to how I was introduced by Andrei Niznamov. It's about what's already in the Code of Ethics on the use of data, and here's I would like to build a bridge, so to speak, or make a link to the ethical aspects of using AI. So primarily we'll have to deal with the fact that at one point or another we'll have to install some controls over the way the algorithms work, because one of the cornerstones of this is absolutely unacceptable discrimination of citizens, and if such a discrimination can happen, if there's a risk of that, there has to be human agency involved. On the topic of personal data, I'd like to say that the principle of voluntariness or agreement is also going to be used in the area of AI. There's no escaping this, especially when it comes to automated processing. Another aspect I wanted to highlight is the priority of insights or analytics over anything else, because we are at the very inceptional stage of this technology's development, and we have to focus our attention on this, otherwise we're not going to make a breakthrough and become one of the leaders, something that Mr. Putin alluded to. We need to create certain incentives, and incentives in the area of research and analytics and the development of insights. That's where the bans need to be lifted. Now, of course, there will be risks in the use of AI. That's creation of falsification of decisions or wrong, false positive identification of various items or objects. And that's something that needs to be controlled by human beings on the one hand, and on the other, that is part of our requirement for the way the algorithms are supposed to work. These are the key aspects I wanted to dwell on. Of course, this is an inexhaustible subject. I'm really excited about this. We've been conducting a lot of experiments, and I'm sure that our lives are going to be much better and easier in the next several years.